with the API. I'm going to welcome everyone in this video. I'm going to explain you about how to write an API for this bar chart which you are looking in the screen now. So obviously this data is dynamic and it's coming from database with the help of Java Spring Boot API which I have written already. So in this video my goal is to write that API. Which API will give response in this way. This is going to our API response. So generally what we do is we write some API which will give return us data in a JSON format. So here it's not happening the same. So this video is going to be interesting for the UI developer as well Spring Boot Java developer. So without wasting time, I have already created one application. There I will guide you how to write that API and achieve this response. Then in the next video, I will tell you how to wire that API in this bar chart. So this UI is in React.js totally, and the backend is going to be in Spring Boot. So without wasting time, let's jump to the my STS here. So you can see their entity. I have already created the where I have some fields, transaction date and the order ID and the payment ID and the user ID and the this is the important one, transaction date, because in this bar chart we can see this data January, February, March, April and so on. It is only for the current year. So we have to think how to filter that data only for that current year and the months wise. So let's take a first step towards our goal. Let's jump to the stage. And here you have many way to develop that API, but I will say you two way. And the first way is using the query, and the second way you can use streams as well. There is one group by method. I will explain you both, and I will make sure that I have kept my GitHub link of this code in description. Please make sure to see that. Okay, let's go to STS. So this is the payment entity. You can see here as well, HMS test, and you can see there is some payments recorded already. And this query I'm going to use here. See, you can see when I'm doing this, you can see select what I want, select the sum of amount. So in a particular month, there might be more than 100 transaction and more than one transaction. So I want sum of that transaction for that particular month. So let's use the sum and the amount paid, because you can observe here in my this transaction table I have amount paid, and we need the sum of these things, sum of this amount paid for that particular month. Suppose there is in March there is three payments, sum of that three payments should be populated in that bar chart. Sum of amount paid, from which table I want, from the table name is payment, and then what I want to filter it. So for filtering, I would need to give where condition where month of that transaction that should be current year. So month of this transaction date, I should give some transaction date. Suppose I want for the third month. Okay, there is. And then what I want for particular year, current year only. So second argument should be year of the transaction date. Transaction date should be current year, or you can pass direct to 2024. Now let's see what's happening here. Here the query is missing some. Okay, let's see what's happening. So you can see the sum of amount paid is 3000 for that particular third month. Third is nothing but our March, because we are taking third in argument and the current year is 24. So let's see in the table we have, you can observe where this transaction date 2024 third month and the date is 20, which is nothing but 3000. So this query is working fine. So we need to use this query in our Spring Boot. Let's go to the Spring Boot now. Okay, where is my repository? So here I need to write that query first. So I will use at the rate of query annotation. Yeah, it's query is coming. What again? Query, in that query, I need to write value equal to, let's paste that query inside that method. I'm going to copy it here. So here you can observe this should be dynamic. So here I want to pass, like, if you don't know how to write query method inside a Spring Boot repository method, I will guide you how to write. This is the going to our first argument. So write this like first, and the date is also should be dynamic in our API. So let's pass question mark and two. So it's saying nothing but that is the first argument and that is the second argument. And after that you can give some native query equal to true as well. So come to outside of this native query equal to true. Yeah, that's over. I think it should work for us. Now give us the method return type. So every month should be double because we are going to return amount only, nothing more than that. And we can say the calculate monthly income. And inside that we should pass two argument. First is nothing but our month and the year as well. So let's write the param, and integer is nothing but month, and our year is also going to be the month only, sorry, integer only. Param integer year. Yeah, that's it. Showing some error, why missing. Okay, it's asking some argument name. Yeah, so here I'm telling but nothing, it's going to the argument name, that is year and the param, year in the month, sorry, month. So here our repository method is done successfully. Till now we have done with our repository path where I already wrote the select, it means query. So you would have observed that the way of writing query inside our Spring Boot and the way of writing query in MySQL Workbench is bit different. So when I will test this API, you will get to know whether it's right or not. And I'm using a Spring Boot version 3.1. So make sure which version of Spring Boot you are using. There might be no more changes, but it might affect somewhat if you are using Spring Boot version before 3. So let's implement our logic part in our service methods. And first, I will tell you that you can observe this response I want. So how we can get this response? You can see the response is in a key value pair. It should be key value pair. And when we say key value in Java, the first thing which comes in our mind is mapping, where the things handles using key and value. For particular key there should be some value attached to it. So obviously I'm going to use map here, and let's implement our logic there. Let's go to the service part and let's start writing your implementation. So let's break down what I want to do. The first thing, let's declare one method which is going to return type should be string is nothing but our month name, and double. Let's give some any name here. You can give your own name as well. So I will give some name which makes some sense. So get graph data. So simple name I gave here, and then how we can use that repository method inside that, because in that repository method we have two arguments which is nothing but one is month and one is current year. So first we need have that current year instance. So let's take a local date. I will give a name current date, and let's obviously view. So we have created the instance of a local date which representing the current date. From that current date, let's extract the current year. So it's going to be integer and the current year. Current year. How to extract that current year? Let's say current date dot get year. We have already many method. You can see get year, get month, get many things. So we need to use get year method here first, which will extract the current year. Let's print as well. Sort current year. Current year. We'll print in the console. Later we'll remove this. After that, what we need to do is we need to return in a map format. So let's initialize a map where string is going to key and the double is going to the value double. Let's give some name summary. Any name you can give summary, and we should use hash map. Here we can use linked hash map also. I will tell you later what's the difference between linked hash map, what will happen, and if you use hash map, then what will happen. So yeah, that's it. It's going telling to import that. Let's import that hash map as well. Done. Now what we need to do is now we have to iterate through the 12 months because we have 12 months in a year and we have to iterate through each month and get the value of that current month. So let's use a for loop for that because that for loop will iterate over each month from 1 to 12 month and it will store the value which we are going to get from that repository method. Let's see what actually how to implement it. Int. Now we have to give the month name. We have to iterate through month. Int month. So we can. I'm going to hardcode bit here. Month equal to from first month, and it should iterate up to 12 month, and we should increment it like this. Now inside that for loop, we need to write that repository method income double total monthly income. How to get that value? We have payment repository dot. We have written one method calculate, and you can see here it's asking two arguments. So first argument is nothing but our year argument, and the second argument is our nothing but our month. This is nothing but month. Let's say month. Yeah, month. Yeah, that's it. Now let's return the value of that. Summary dot put. Use put method to insert that value here, and I will write month. What is that telling is change the type of month to a string. Okay, string dot value of month. Now we have done with. Now let's return the summary. Return the summary. So we have done with our logic part. Let's see in controller how the data will look like when we'll in point get graph. Now we have to return string and the double string and the double value. Give some name again graph data extraction, and here just call the payment service dot the method which we wrote is the get graph data. That's it. We have done with almost everything. Just we need to return this. Return. Sorry, we can return directly here. Return payment service. Yeah. So we have done with our controller part as well. It's time to test that API. Let's rerun the service once. Relaunch. Yeah. जो तुम Let's the application should run first. It's running. It's taking some time. Let it take. Just give us some bit 20 second or 10 second. It's running. So yeah, it's ran already without any error. So you can see here I am running two app parallelly. One is nothing but a HMS product and one is nothing but HMS app. Let's go to the postman, and the response which I have shown you before is nothing but coming from HMS product application. Again, I will hit it and you can see this response. Now it's time to test our this which we wrote now, get graph. Let's copy the endpoint and you can come here, and here it's running. See, observe it, it's running on 7099 port, and this I'm running on 7088 port, and the graph get, get graph. Let's hit that endpoint and see what's happening. Oh, so you can observe the data is coming but the month name is not coming. Instead it's returning the month number, that's 11 1 12 2 3 like this. So why it's happening so, and you can see the order of formatting is also not done in a proper way, whereas in this we are getting in such a way that in sequence wise. So I have already told you why I am using hash map. Instead hash map, if I am going to use here in come to the payment service, if I will change this hash map with linked hash map, it will preserve the order and it will format the data. Linked hash map. Let's use it and see the response of API. And the one more catch is there. We don't want the response to be in this way. We want month name. So we can write a small method which will give the month name by current year, current month number. So let's write a small method here which will helps you many places. Let's write that. So we'll write a private. I want to return a string. It means nothing but a name of that month. Get month name, and in argument we need to pass int. Why int? Because we are passing the number of that month, and then just return year, month. Sorry, dot of local date dot now dot get year. So this is the year, and then the month should be our month number. Now again dot get month. This is the method which we are going to use. Change the return type to month. Why? Okay, let's get the name of that month. Yeah, so it will return the month name. We are going to use this method inside our application. Here we are seeing that instead of this let's write a new line summary dot put, where we need to pass two argument, that is nothing but get month name, that's inside that. Yeah, and that is the total summary, that's it. So we have done with total path. Now we are going to get our expected result as well. Let's rerun the application once more. Let's wait for some 20 second. So application ran successfully. Let's see the response. Now what's the response? It looks like showing green console. I think application not ran fully yet. Now started the HMS application. Let's go now. Once again hit that same API endpoint and let's see the response. So see here the data is formatted as well and the month name is also coming. So it was our ultimate goal to achieve and which we already achieved. Hope you would have enjoyed this video and it was bit interesting as well. In next video we'll do the UI part and I will show you how to wire this API to populate the data in the graph dynamically.